and today I'm doing something that has been requested by a few of you on my Instagram live and also in one of my previous videos. I mentioned that I saw BTS in concert, and you guys know from my Instagram that I saw them up close, in person and everything. Some of you guys just wanted me to actually sit down and talk all about it. So this is not a video that I was planning to make, but it's a video I'm happy to make, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I actually watched some of these videos like way back. I figured if you guys want to know about it and if I can talk about it, then why not? I know some of you guys probably don't follow me for this, so if this is not your thing, if you guys don't like K-pop, if you guys don't like BTS, then you don't need to watch this. And I know some of you guys, this might be the first time watching me, so if that's you, then hey. And yeah, let's just jump right into it. So I'm actually going to talk about the whole process, like the whole experience. And if you guys are literally here just for the concert, the actual concert, seeing them up close, then I will maybe put a marker to like show where you guys can skip forward to. I feel like the whole thing was like crazy. Everything to do with BTS is always crazy, and I will try to just pick out like the best bits for you guys, but I just want to give you guys like the full experience and explain to you guys how I got ticket, how everything happened. Let's go ahead and start at the beginning. So I just really want to talk about quickly how I even got into BTS, and I know some of you guys are gonna hate me for this story, and I hate myself a little bit because basically over a year ago now I went to South Korea. I actually stayed in Seoul. I was just there literally just to visit my friend. Did not know any K-pop, I'd never watched a K-drama, and I just about knew how to say 안녕하세요, and that was it. So when I was there I was like, oh, let me check out some K-pop groups. So I think DNA had literally just dropped, and I watched something from EXO and I think something from GOT7. When I was walking around in Seoul, like all the underground stations and stuff in the shopping malls, I could just hear them playing these songs like over and over and over again. At the time they were obsessed with Blood, Sweat and Tears. So I came home, I became obsessed with BTS. Like I was listening to them non-stop. I was like telling everybody about them, anybody that would listen, even people that weren't listening. When they announced the world tour, I was like I think I like blacked out. As soon as I regained my senses, I like ran around the house. I was like Then I got onto Twitter and I saw everybody freaking out about how to get tickets, because obviously this was my first BTS tour that I had actually a chance of going to. So I hadn't experienced the level of competition. I had so much anxiety, like leading up to the tickets. I was like, I didn't even realize how much anxiety I had about tickets, but I really wanted to see BTS. I was thinking my internet speed is slow, like I'm gonna have to do this on my phone data, like asking my friend, like we were fully strategizing the whole thing. And then the day came, the tickets went on sale. I must have been sat there in a queue for like half an hour, and I already knew like we did not get tickets. Even while I was still in the queue, then news articles started popping up saying all the tickets are sold out, and here I am like in a queue waiting. I was like I didn't get tickets on the day, and like I did not know what to do with myself. Everything I did, I was doing it in a bad mood that day. At the time I felt like crying. My head was in my hands. If they're not a BTS fan, they don't understand how much it means to you. Like it meant so much to me to get these tickets, and like I just didn't get them. Wanted to get a ticket on StubHub. There were 2 dates for the London show at the O2 Arena, and I had them, like I had already put it in my planner, like it was on my laptop, it was on my phone. I was like, these are the days that BTS are gonna be here, so it was a constant reminder that that is where I was supposed to be on those days, and that's where I was not gonna be. I was just checking it every day to see if a ticket would come up that was gonna be a good price. So originally me and my friend, we wanted to get VIP tickets, which is the section between the stage and the extended stage, and there's like a runway, and the bit that comes in there, the bit in between those two parts of the stage is the VIP section, and those tickets were £220 each. And then I can't remember how much the general admissions tickets were. I think they were over £100, and then the other seats I think ranged from about £50 for the furthest back one, and then maybe like £90 for the front row ones. Obviously could not get a VIP ticket on StubHub. Those were nothing less than £2,000. I saw one that was £10,000 at one point, and then when you buy on StubHub as well, it actually puts on about £100 service charge as well, so it's always £100 more than what you're even looking at. So then around September I was still looking on StubHub, because I'd actually heard that the StubHub prices tend to drop down closer to the events, because the people, the ticket touts, these evil people, these bloodsuckers, they get worried that nobody's buying the tickets at the prices they set, so they start dropping the prices to try and make sure they didn't just lose all their money when they bought the tickets and can't sell them. Maybe they did start to drop a little bit, but it was still kind of outside of my price range. change. So I started looking, because you know, it's London, this is Europe, like we travel a lot. It takes half an hour to get to Amsterdam, it takes 20 minutes to get to Paris. It's no biggie. It's like, okay, let me look at the other cities in Europe. So I think originally I was gonna go in Berlin. I asked my sister to go with me. She took a little bit of time getting back to me. By the time she got back to me, the ticket was gone. So then I looked at Paris. I just bought the ticket. Like as soon as I saw it, I bought the ticket because there was finally a general admission standing ticket for less than £400. Like this is the rate that it was at. I was like, if I see a general admission ticket for less than £400, I'm getting it, because I'm not going to see that price again. So I think it was like 320 euros. For some reason, the French StubHub has a lower service charge as well. It was about £50. So all in all, I paid £380 for my standing ticket. Originally, they were about £100 or 150, something like that. And I paid more than double for my ticket. Had to get to Paris as well. So then I asked my sister, I've got a BTS ticket now, do you want to come to Paris? So she came, but she had to work, so she couldn't actually stay all of the day. That is how I got my ticket. It was nothing special. I just paid the money on StubHub, that's it. First concerts in the UK were in London. I live about half an hour away from the concert venues. So on the second day I was like, do you know what? It's half an hour away. I'm gonna go down there, and then at least I can like feel the vibe, I can feel the hype, and maybe I can like hear soundcheck, or maybe I can hear the performance from outside of the stadium, the arena. Guys, I'm going to the O2 now, even though I don't have a BTS ticket, but I just want to go there and get like the merch and stuff. There's a line. I have to kind of figure out what the merch line is. I also want to go to the studio. I'm going to go to the Paris show next week. When I'm there, I'm going to be in line because I just have like a general admittance ticket. I won't have time to actually queue up for merch and stuff when I'm in Paris, so I'm going to queue up for merch here instead. I went to first of all join the merchandise queue, and it was a baking hot day, and I just saw so many people queuing. It's not too strange because it was the day of the concert. I thought I found the merchandise line, so I was like, can I join the merchandise line please? There was like security guarding the line, and they were like, no, this is the front of the line. The end of the line is across the foyer, and then there was another line that was like zigzagging. There must have been about 1,000 people at the end of the line, but because the front of the line had got so long, they'd had to open up another area for people to queue. And what they were doing is you would queue over here, and then once you finally got through all these zigzags, which would probably take you like 4 hours, then you would get to the front of the line, then some security guards would escort you to the next part of the line. Hadn't planned for so many people to be queuing up for merchandise. So I queued up there because actually I wanted to get some B221 stuff. So I was queuing for like an hour, and then we finally made it to one of these boards, because the boards were kind of hidden by so many people, but the board said what merchandise was available and what was already sold out. There was no B221 stuff. Like that was my fault anyway. Like I shouldn't have assumed that. Just Love Yourself World Tour merchandise, that's it. So it's like t-shirts, bags, hoodies, light sticks, light rings like army ring, photo cards, pickets with their faces on, stuff like that. And I was looking at it and I was like, do you know, I don't actually want any of this stuff. By the time we got there, the t-shirts that everybody wanted had sold out. The hoodie was like £70, and I was like, do you know what, I have got so many black hoodies, I don't need another black hoodie, especially not for £70. That's gonna take me like another 8 hours to queue up for. And then they said, by the way, if you're only in this queue for a light stick, then you can literally just go over there and there's no queue. Like so many people have been queuing for hours to get a light stick without realizing that you could literally go to this other truck where they were just giving out light sticks. Not giving them out, like you had to pay. It was £45 for the light stick. So if you like add it up, I've spent like over £400 on BTS stuff already at this point. Here's my light stick. Oh, it's got batteries in it, that's good. This is the version 3. I actually bought a version 1 by accident because I didn't realize that it would become obsolete. Basically, if you want your light stick to match up to everybody else's, you have to have the latest version and just make it blink like this. You can make it flash. You can make it flash really fast. You can't change the color of it until you're like at the concert, and it just changes color depending on the light show at the show. It's really cool. I like it. It actually came with photo cards, and it also came with a case for your army bomb, but I don't know where it is. And it has like this wrist thing on it, which you need when you're in the concert. I literally was there, saw the hype. Oh my god, the drama. While I was just waiting to hear something, I went into the Starbucks and I was doing some work on my laptop. And obviously the Starbucks at the O2 Arena was just filled with armies. So I started hearing people talking about how somebody bought a ticket off StubHub and it was fake. And I was like, well, hang on now. I was like, I've got a ticket from StubHub. And it was something I've been worrying about. And I'm like, hold up. And there was this girl, I think she was from Spain, and she was right at the front of the queue for GA. She was like number 5 in line. She'd been queuing up since 2 AM. Even though she'd queued up for that long, she still didn't know if her ticket ticket was real. She said she bought it on StubHub, and there was no way for the O2 to tell her whether or not it was real until the point where she actually went in and they would scan it, because they scanned it and they said, okay, it looks real, but we can't tell if it's a duplicated ticket until actually it's time to go in. So she was really worried, and there was another girl who bought her ticket from Viagogo. StubHub is the one that had a promise with the O2 Arena, whereas Viagogo was kind of infamous for having fake dodgy tickets. So she looked up and she said, well, I bought my ticket on Viagogo, is it real? And she gave it to the girl to look at, because the girl had seen it from the day before. Said she'd seen people getting turned away, people who had fake tickets. There were people who were crying, banging on the doors, begging to be let in. She took one look at it and she said, I think probably it's a fake ticket. So this had me really worried, because in a week's time I was going to fly to Paris, I was going to queue up, and my ticket might be fake because it's from StubHub. Nobody's going to know until you actually scan your ticket on your way inside the venue when the gates open. More anxiety.
We were staying in Paris to get away from.
So yeah, then the time came, we went to Paris, made a whole trip of it. We had lunch in the sun in front of the Eiffel Tower, we walked all over Notre Dame, we ate a ton of croissants, we went to Disneyland Paris, it was incredible. And then on Wednesday my sister went home. My show that I went to was on Friday. I had already read that camping was forbidden. I was kind of feeling a bit more secure about that, even though I knew that people camped in London, but I think they only camped from like the day before. And the girl who was telling me that she was worried about her fake ticket, she'd only been camping since 2 AM of the night before, and she was 5th in line. So my plan originally was to get there sort of like 3 AM, which was around about the same time that this girl got there, to be 5th in line. But as soon as my sister went home on Wednesday and I was no longer distracted, I started having a look at Twitter again. I wanted to have a look and see what was going on. I saw that people were already queuing, already camping for my show since Monday. On Monday, I hadn't even been looking at Twitter. On Tuesday, I was at Disneyland. Like, I didn't even know that people were doing all of this. And you know, I was thinking, you know, I've paid so much money and I'm in general admission, so I'm in standing. It's like, I don't want to be like way at the back of standing. Like, I don't want to be at the back of the arena, like not being able to see anything. I don't want to be in the middle in a mosh pit. Like, I wanted to be at the front. And it's Wednesday, and I saw that they let the people sleep inside the arena that night because it got so cold. And I was like, wow, they're really taking care of these campers. Like, they're really going to allow it. So on Wednesday, I was thinking like, I don't want to go there and camp now. I don't have a tent. I don't want to do that. Like, it's cold at night. I don't have anything with me. Like, do they have showers? Like, how are you gonna shower? Is it clean? And I'm by myself, and I'm thinking like since Monday, the show is on Friday. Even at the O2 Arena, people who had barely slept for one night were 5th in line, so they were going to be right at the front. Like, it was crazy. And so on Wednesday I decided to sleep at my hotel. Like, I was just not prepared to go down there and camp, and also because I don't speak French, so everything for me was a little bit worrying. Like, so many more people are going to join the line while I'm sleeping here, and I'm going to get further and further at the back, and I'm like, my whole experience is going to get wasted, or my money's going to be wasted. So the next day I had to go down to Champs-Élysées because I needed to take something to H&M. And then I decided, do you know what? I don't know if there's any food places down at this arena. I've never been to this arena. I'm gonna have to take a packed lunch. So then I had to go and buy a whole bunch of stuff, and then I had to decide what I was gonna wear. I was like, right, so now I have to take the clothes that I want to wear to the concert, and I also have to take something to wear overnight, but I've only got this jacket, I've only got this hoodie, so let's just pray that it's not so cold tonight. And it was actually a really hot day. Like, for mid-October in Western Europe, it has been freakishly warm. Like, the temperature is dropping now, but for that whole week, for about 2 weeks while BTS was here, it was so sunny. And like, that was definitely, that was BTS's impact. Like, that's why it was so sunny, is because J-Hope was in the building. That's why. Don't fight me on this, it's a fact. When I finally felt prepared enough, when I had packed lunches, when I'd packed my clothes, when I had my B221 headband on, I've never been part of a fandom before, I didn't see this coming. When I had my directions, I felt like I had practiced enough French phrases. I finally went down to the venue. That was a struggle by itself, because I left the hotel. Immediately there was a whole crowd of like French guys like trying to chat to me, trying to ignore them the same way that I ignore every roadman. I finally managed to get to the venue. I could see all the posters. I saw the steps that have had their faces painted onto the steps, which just looked so weird. Like, I don't know what they were thinking. They were trying to something. Didn't quite work though. Like, somebody had an idea, carried out the idea, and then the person that probably came up with the idea in the first place was probably like, yeah, sorry about that, you guys, that was not my best suggestion. So I found two girls, Issa and Sally. So I said to them, parlez-vous anglais? They said, oh wait. So they helped me. We went to the front of the venue, we joined the queue, and at that point the security had gone all out. This was probably the most prepared queue that I had ever seen for a concert. So they had a whole gated area for the queue. Like it was all guarded. There were security guards. There were like civil human protection squad people. Like they were literally there just to take care of everybody and make sure that people were well fed and make sure that people were warm enough overnight. Like they went all out. Like all of these people, I don't know if they were volunteers or whether they'd been hired and brought in literally just to protect the people in the queue that put ourselves into this position. Like we were the ones deciding to camp overnight, but they'd given us all this protection. They had 20 portaloos, not one, not two, 20, and they had a whole area for queuing for the toilet as well. Most people did not have tents. When I say most people, I would say probably 80 to 90% of people did not have tents, including me. I got there and joined the queue with Uso, Sally, and another girl called Mariana. I was so lucky because all three of those girls could actually speak English. But when I say I got there at 6 p.m. on Thursday for a concert that was happening at 8 p.m. on Friday, and there were already so many people in front of me. We were trying to figure it out. We were trying to say it's a few hundred people are in front of us right now. We didn't know exactly, but yeah, we just stayed. Then it starts getting windy. Like it had been such a hot, nice day, and I was like, let's just hope it stays hot and nice like this. But when I tell you, when that wind hit, I was like, please don't be windy, because the ground was like sand, the ground was like gravel and soot. So that wind was kind of kicking up the dust, and Mariana actually had blankets that she laid down, and every time that we moved the blanket, so much dust would kick up, and it was like all over me, all over my white trainers, like it was in my braids, just dust everywhere. And the wind was kicking the dust around, but the worst thing about the wind was that the wind was so cold. So it got to like 8 in the evening, already I had to put my hoodie on, and we were just sat there on the blanket, nothing to do really except chat. Like no one had bought games, nobody really wanted to use their phones because some people didn't have phone chargers. So many more people were joining the queue. I guess there were people coming after work, people coming after school. All my things are falling down. We probably were about halfway through that little segment, and so many people had joined the line after us. So yeah, it got to maybe 11, and then Mariana's like, wants to go to sleep. I want to go to sleep because I was tired. At midnight, they came and wrote on our hands. They took our IDs. They wrote which number we were in the line. I was 605. So if you imagine, I arrived to that concert 26 hours ahead of time, and I was already 605th person in the line. And they said that this was an unofficial numbering, and they said that the official numbering was going to be happening at 6 a.m. Yeah, so then we went to sleep, and I was trying to close my hoodie like this because there was like a big floodlight in my face, so I couldn't sleep with that light. But it was so cold. So those human protection squad people, they actually started delivering rescue blankets, like foil rescue blankets. You see people who have been rescued from the ocean, who have been rescued from the mountainside, people who are in shock get given these foil blankets. But this is what they were giving to us, like people who put ourselves in this position, this human hero squad. They were still doing their best to try and make sure that we were okay. So I guess they only had like a certain amount of these blankets. They couldn't give one to everybody, so they gave one to me and Mariana, one to Uso and Sally. Then me and Mariana are trying to sleep sharing this blanket. I didn't want to like take too much from her, she didn't want to take too much from me. I'm trying to like wrap it around myself because it's windy, it's gonna blow the blanket off, and also if there was a gap in it, then the wind was like blowing under the gap and it was like making everything so cold. So I'm trying to like literally wrap around it, like steal it around, like be proper tucked in. I just kept going through it like that. I think I maybe slept for like an hour, then I would wake up and I'd say, oh, it's so cold. You know, I was using my bag as a pillow. At some point I literally thought I was gonna get hypothermia. I've had it before and I really thought it could happen again. I mean, these were hard times. We did this to ourselves, like we are crazy. Why did we do this? Like when I think back to it, I'm just like, that was such a crazy thing that I did. Then at like 5 a.m, Mariana wakes me up and she's like, Lana, we have to move, we have to move. I was like, what? Like, why do we have to move? I just got up, like I was in such a daze, like my limbs were cold. I literally felt like in Titanic. Have you seen the bit in Titanic when she's like on the door? She's so cold and she's like, I can't feel my body. Yeah, so Mariana's waking me up. She's like, we have to move, quick, we have to go. And I look around and everybody's awake. Everybody is sort of on their feet, and I'm like, okay, like pick my bag up, pick the blanket up. And she's like, cause all these people came, like while we were asleep, all these people came and pushed in front of us, but like our other friends are up there, so we need to go and join our other friends. So then Mariana's explaining to me that at 3 a.m. while I was asleep, the security locked the gates so that nobody else could come into the line. We assumed that that's because it was full. Security had actually reopened the gates and told everybody to shuffle up. They told everybody to put their tents away, everybody shuffle up to let more people into the line because people were queuing all over the park outside, and it was unsafe. There were no toilets out there, there was no bins to keep the place tidy, and there was no security, there's no protection for them out there. So they wanted more people to be in the official line, so they opened it up and they told everybody to push up again. Everyone was standing around for a while not really knowing what happened, because it took a long time for these messages to get down. And then they finally started coming around with the wristbands for your numbers, and we could hear tension, like we could feel tension starting to build, and people were arguing, people were shouting, and we were like, what is going on with these wristbands? So then we figured out what the problem was. It's because people had joined the line, or people had saved spaces of people who did not camp. Like we had just been through that, and yet there were people who had not done that who were further in front, because when security opened the gates they had run to the front, or they had joined their friends, or their friends had saved spaces for them and stuff like that. So everybody was angry about it. And by the time I got my wristband, I had gone from 6:05 to 6:41. So obviously that's quite annoying, but they said that the problem was, the reason why they locked the gates was so that when they came to do wristbands, they would know that everybody who had a wristband had slept in there because the gates had been locked. Security did not get that memo, so security saw it as a security risk that there were so many people outside, so they wanted to open the gates to let more people in, but they didn't realize about the wristbands. So now that's why it was a mess. I mean, it was not a big issue. I feel like they kind of redeemed themselves a bit later on. So when you had your wristband, it meant that you could then go ahead and leave the queue if you wanted to, and like go and freshen up, go to Starbucks, go to wherever. So me and Mariana wanted to go to Starbucks. It's like a 10-minute walk away. We went to Starbucks, we went to the bathroom, freshened up, like I had these wipes and stuff, so I like had a good clean, brushed my teeth, got changed, charged our phones, had coffee, had food. Everybody had to be back in the line by 12. So we had a look at the BTS studio, and the queue was too long. We were not going to be able to do that and be back in the line by 12. We went back to the line, and I was seeing people ahead of me that I had not seen all night. Like you kind of recognized people that you had spent the night with. So I was just like, I don't recognize this girl. This one girl was like 6 foot tall, so I was like, I would have recognized you. Then by 12, everybody had come back to the line. Then everybody was kicking off, because literally people had become obsessed with the numbers on their wristbands. Like people were like, I am a 500, and so why is there 700 people in front of me? When everybody had left to go clean up, people had taken advantage and they jumped ahead in the queue. So then security had to come by again, and they started calling numbers by hundreds at a time. So that everyone that's 100 come into this section of the queue, everybody that's a 200 come to this section of the queue, and they were checking everybody's wristband, and they sectioned off different parts of the queue for everybody. Then that wasn't enough. Then they actually went through and they literally numbered everybody exactly. So they were like literally like 641, 642, 643, like literally everybody was in order, and everybody had to stay like that. Like they pulled so many people out, like so many people who really thought that like they tried it. Like there were some girls I think with like 900s who were chilling in like with the 200s. Like it was so crazy, and it's crazy to think that literally everybody came obsessed with their numbers like that. The rest of that day was just like people singing, like learning fan chants. Like Big Hit was filming for the behind the scenes documentary and stuff like that, so every now and again the cameras would come round. Ariana actually got her ticket from Viagogo, and I was so worried for her, because I was like, Viagogo is not the official one. I am worried about mine, but at least mine's from StubHub, which is a little bit more official, so I was just really worried for her. And it was getting closer and closer to the time that we're actually going to get let in, and we're still so worried about our tickets. Then the time came, everybody got let in pretty much one by one. They were literally doing it like 2 by 2s to make sure nobody was pushing. They were like checking wristbands to see what number you were, and we were so worried. Like my heart was so tense, and I was excited. Like there was a belief in me that my ticket was gonna be real, but at the same time like I was so nervous. We go up to the scanner, I've got my ticket, I've got my passport like for ID, and she scans it and it goes doo-doo-doo. She goes, go on. And I was like, yes. And I wanted to run down to that stage. I really wanted to run down. And I started skipping, but I looked behind and I was like, Mariana. And I see hers, they scan it, beep, beep, beep. And she comes through and we're just like, oh my God. I'm like running down. But then I see the security is there and they're like, stop running, stop running. So it's like, I start walking and I'm like, I want to get down to the stage. I want to get down to the stage. I want to get down to the stage. But I know I'm not supposed to run. Like they could really tell me off. I could get kicked out if I'm like breaking these rules right now. Another girl, actually, she ran right up to the security guard. He was in front of her. He was saying, stop running, stop running. And she was trying to run past him, even when he's in her face telling her to stop running. And he stopped her and I walked past. I was just like, I'm glad that's not me. He was talking to her, like telling her off for like a good little while. Like she must have lost her place or something. So I walked, and then as we got closer to the stage, we like start skipping. I've got Mariana with me. The front of the stage by that point was already, there was quite a big crowd on like the triangular part of the stage, like right at the front. So we went round to the side and we were maybe 3rd or 4th row. So there was like 3 people in front of me, which was fine. But see, the thing is, this is something I really wanted to talk about, and this is something I mentioned on Twitter, is that I am quite experienced with standing pits. I used to go and see like a lot of rock groups, a lot of emo groups, and we would always go standing. A standing pit is not sunshine and roses, like not by a long shot. It's the opposite. People push, people shove. The worst people are those people that elbows. Like, I don't have a problem with people pushing forward, they want to get closer. Like, I don't have a problem with people just inching closer, but if you're gonna be there with the elbows, like, just leave it out. When we got there, it was 6 o'clock and the show did not start until 8 o'clock. So we had to stand there, like literally stand there on our feet for 2 hours. And at that point, there's no one on stage, there's just music playing. So everyone's like singing along to the music, everyone's happy. People in front of me were getting annoyed with people pushing, and I was thinking like, no one's pushing. I still maybe had like this much room in front of me, this much room behind me, like actual space of no one touching me. I had enough room to sort of turn around, like talk to Mariana, like get stuff out of my bag. Like, I was like, this is a luxury for a standing pit right now. You know what, honestly, I was just thinking, they're not gonna be able to handle this. They're not gonna be able to handle what's about to happen. So then the band came out. The first song that came on was Idol.
Make some noise! Nice to meet you guys. I'm Jimin.
You know what I gotta say?
So no one was really pushing that much because it's not like they were right in front of us. Then I think a couple songs in, then they started walking down and they were really focused on this main stage that I was right in front of. There's quite a big gap between the barrier and the stage, like maybe like 3 feet, and then the stage itself is like 5 feet tall, so you're looking up, but I was like, they're literally right in front of me. So everyone is pushing forward, and because we were at the side of the stage, like imagine the stage is like this, so people here want to push forward, but people who are right at the side also want to push like this, and I was about here, so I had people pushing this way and people pushing this way on me. Literally, I was like the one in the middle. I was the one who was not pushing, but I had people pushing me this side and literally someone pushing me this side, like elbow to elbow. And this girl was really pushing because she thought I was pushing her, and I said to her, I am not pushing you. I said, look at this girl right here was elbowing me like this, like really pushing me like this, like proper elbowing me. And I was like, this is what I'm dealing with, and I've got you pushing me as well, so you can both just chill. I wouldn't even mind so much if everyone was pushing me one way or everyone was pushing me another way, but it's literally I was in the middle of 2 people pushing me, like they wanted me to just like combust, like they wanted me to literally just disappearing on myself. She was the most, like the biggest bane of my life. Like I'm there, I'm trying to enjoy it, and she's there elbowing me. It's so annoying. I feel like I missed like the first few songs of the concert because of her. Yeah, there was this whole thing, but I don't want to talk about her. You guys aren't interested in her. Just know that she was annoying. She tried to ruin my life. She did worse stuff than that in that concert. I feel like for the most part then, most of the songs were kind of focused on our stage, like right in front of us. They did a few songs, like the songs with the most intense choreography, they mainly did down at the main stage. So they did Fake Love down there, they did Save Me and I'm Fine was down there. don't really remember those songs that much because mostly during those songs it was when the security was kind of delivering water to us and just making sure that everyone was okay. So we didn't really see much of what was going on down there until they were right in front of us. I wanted to record it, but I was just like, let me just mentally screen grab this as well. Honestly, when they first come out, the first thought is like, I've seen them so many times, I've seen them in so many videos, I've seen them do so many interviews, but it's like, I cannot believe that they are literally right there, like right in front of me. Like they are right there. You cannot describe someone who is like Photoshop in real life. Skin glowing, everything perfect, like hair's perfect, outfits perfect. Oh my god, well done team, well done team. I'm just like looking at them, I'm just like, I can't believe this, and I just want to like take it all in. I feel like Hobby and Yoongi probably spent the most time with us, like where I was. Everybody came over to where we were at some point. I know some people want to know like what they're like in real life. You guys are gonna be shocked. I tell you about Yoongi, you do not realize in real life how bright and round his eyes are. His eyes light up and he turns into having Bambi eyes when he's looking out at the crowd, and he did not stop smiling the whole time. Like just so different to how he is when you see him in interviews and stuff. Like they make him out to be like so quiet, so serious all the time, but then on stage he like comes alive and he is such a performer. Like he just wanted to make sure everyone was hyped up. Like he was the biggest hype man going like to our side of the stage. Like he come over, he's like throwing his water around and he's there and he's like, yeah, jump, jump, jump. So amazing to see Yoongi like that. I was just like, oh my god, I am seeing Yoongi living his best life. Obviously like J-Hope is always a hype man. J-Hope's smile does not leave his face. Just looked so happy to be there. Because the stage comes out so far and the stage is so big, if you're sitting in the seated area over here, you're not even far away really. Like you can definitely be making eye contact from the comfort of your seat, whereas here I am making eye contact, but I'm like being squashed, being suffocated, being crushed, being like elbowed, all of this, sweating to the high heavens. It's not comfy down in that standing pit, but I didn't expect it to be. And the people in front of me are getting more and more sick of people pushing them, and they're like shouting back like, stop pushing. And I'm just like, there is no use telling people in a standing pit to stop pushing, because this is literally like the core of a standing pit. People are going to push. You can't be at the front and tell people to not push. So there was people who had maybe become overwhelmed, maybe they hadn't slept well that night outside, maybe they hadn't eaten very well, or maybe they just were not expecting it to be so hot, because it's literally suffocating, and if you're not careful you will find yourself in a position where you can't breathe. So there were people who were having to be pulled out by security were having to like make way to get people out. I felt so bad for those people because they obviously love BTS enough to have bought a standing ticket and they're having to leave. As much as I feel sorry for them, that happens at every standing pit I've ever been to. It's not rare, but that's why security is not shocked when it happens. That's why security says, do you want me to pull you out? Okay, clear away, I'll pull you out. So the people in front of me, they were feeling like they were getting crushed, and they were also trying to dance. Like they were there trying to do the dance, like they were trying to do mic drop, and I was like, you have to make a sacrifice. Like anyone who's been in a standing pit knows, if you want to be at the barrier, if you want to be at the front, you can't move, you can't dance. Sure, you can dance if you're a few rows back and there's a bit more space, go ahead and dance. dance, but if you're literally right at the front, it's too dangerous to dance. There are so many people crammed in there. Some people are really short. Like there was somebody by me, like Mariana, and it like barely came up to my shoulder, I don't think. Like if you're there and you're jumping and you're trying to go as high as Yoongi's telling you to go, like Yoongi's not talking to you at the barrier, he's telling the other people, yeah, jump. People at the barrier cannot jump, because imagine Mariana, imagine somebody short slips underneath all these people. You just have to do your best to not get crushed, basically. So these people around me were like dancing, and I was like, I can't be dealing with this. So I like moved a bit further away, and I felt really bad because I saw there was one girl, I remember she had a red afro and she was in the front row, so I know she had been waiting maybe 3 or 4 nights, and she got pulled out by security halfway through. She felt faint, she got pulled out, and I just feel like that's a real shame. And my trouble was I was trying to hold my phone to record videos. I was also trying to do my army bomb, and I want to give you guys this tip. I feel like it's really hard to do both in the standing pit, and I think that's why most fan cams usually come from the seated areas. So you kind of have to protect your ribs a little bit. That's literally to give you room to breathe. So imagine you're being crushed like this. If you have at least got your elbows, then you can kind of push back a little bit so that your lungs can inflate. Literally, you've got your phone in the air, you've got your army bomb in the air. Suddenly you're crushed and your rib cage does not even have enough room to inflate, and that is when people start literally not being able to breathe. When I was recording, I didn't have my army bomb up, and when I had my army bomb up, I wasn't recording. So that's like the safety side of it done. But yeah, talk about them in person. Like I just love Namjoon. Like RM, it's just like he's kind of like goofy, but like in the best way. You'd see Jimin come over and Jimin would be doing like body rolls, and he'd be just like, he'd feeling himself. Like he comes over, you know, doing what he's doing to the people in the front row, like, and then he wanders off, and then RM comes over and he's like doing his thing, but he just looks a little bit goofy with it, but we love him. And also in Paris, they were chanting Namjoon Président, Namjoon Président. Like they want Namjoon for their president, so they were chanting every time Namjoon Président. I don't know if he heard it or I don't know if he knows what it meant, but he was so modest. Like he tried to speak at one point, everyone was chanting, and he was like no, and he just wanted to carry on speaking. Poor Jungkook was injured, he couldn't dance, and you could see like how upset he was about that. But he did come over, and I feel like maybe his stitches are starting to heal a little bit, or maybe he had some good painkillers, because he was doing a little bit, you know, not too much on his foot, like not jumping. Oh no, he did do a pretty high jump in So What, and I was like, oh, like he's gonna get a telling off for that when they go backstage. Jimin's just something else. America did something to Jimin, and I just could not believe my eyes. I was just like, this boy. Also his voice, his singing voice is incredible. Like Jin, I feel like his interactions with the people in the front row, like he didn't do a lot of it. I feel like he was interacting with people more seating. Yeah, it's just incredible. Like we had Epiphany. they did like their ending speeches, and they're speaking Korean and it was getting translated to French, so I didn't know what was going on. I was just like, yeah,
You guys are so amazing! I'll never forget today in Paris! To remember, we prepared the presents for you.
I remember seeing Taehyung cry, but I didn't know why he was crying. I thought he was crying because like they had such a good time, and then afterwards I found out it's because he had a cold, but like obviously I didn't know that at the time. But yeah, I left and I was like, I know that Taehyung was looking at me. Taehyung looking into my soul. Am I dead? We were just such a high, like such a buzz after the concert. I feel like there's so much more I want to say, but my camera is gonna die again, and I know I've been filming this for like 2 hours of just talking about this. We had Love Yourself. I can't get over it, honestly. I want to go again. The same thing that everybody was saying after the concert is like, it feels like a total blur. It's like, did that even happen? Did we really even just go? Like no one can remember any of it. I want to remember what I actually saw with my eyes, and I remember looking Taehyung in the face. I remember looking J-Hope in the face. I remember looking Yoongi in the face. I remember beads of sweat on RM and Jungkook's face, and he's like looking at the crowd, like really just like soaking it all in, appreciating it. These are things I actually want to remember. And just the feeling like when they first jumped out the ground when Idol came on, like I just want to remember that feeling of like, oh my god. We didn't get to do the BTS studio that day, so me and Mariana were like, okay, we know the queue is going to go insane. I think the day before they closed the queue at 9 AM because it was already too full. So we're like, okay, yeah, we're going to come back down to this venue at like 6 AM. We're going to do the BTS studio. Obviously the next day, like we were so tired. It was so nice to be sleeping in a bed again. So I did not go down there for 6 AM. I didn't even go down there for 9 AM. I think I got there at 3 in the afternoon. And if you guys don't know what BTS studio is, it's basically like a photo booth. You sit down on a little bench, whichever member you pick, they will come and sit with you and take photos with you. But it's a hologram, you guys. The security were kind of blocking people out of the line. I said to a few people, parlez-vous anglais? They say oui. I said, can I queue up? And they said, no, it's closed. It's been closed since 11 AM. And I was like, all right, okay, but you're waiting still. Like I didn't say this to them. I was like, okay, thank you, like merci. So they obviously know something. So I said to security, I said, parlez-vous anglais? He said, no. And he said, no, fin, like it's done, like no more people queuing. And I was like, okay, well I don't really know what else to do because I had to catch a flight. I had to leave Paris at 5. I've got nowhere else to go. I'm just gonna sit here. I'll watch the line and see what happens. So I watched the line. I maybe sat there for like maybe 45 minutes and I see him fiddling with the lock on the thing. I jumped up, I went over there, I was like, what's happening? And they said they're letting more people in. Yes. So I made friends with these 2 other girls. I told them I've got to catch a flight. They were so lovely. They were like, go ahead, jump in front of us in the line. Like I was like, oh my god. Wow. And I went in, I was gonna go in by myself and they said, oh no, but you need to go and prepare because someone needs to record the video. So then I found this other girl further down and she was by herself. So I went up to her and I said, do you want to go in together and I'll record your video, you record my video? And she didn't know what I was talking about because actually she didn't realize there was a video. The security guard explained to her in French that there's a video and she was like, okay, but she still didn't really get it. I don't think she kind of understood the video part. But we went in, as soon as we went in, she like sits on the bench, like picks her member that she's gonna do it with, and then she sees them coming out and she sees them like sitting down next to her and she's like, oh my god, it's a video. So I'm like recording the whole thing and she's like doing her poses and stuff afterwards. She was so happy. She was like, oh my god, thank you, thank you. She like gave me a hug. She went, I purple you, I love the video so much. And she didn't know there was a video. And she's got her photo as well. I think she did it with J-Hope. So I did mine with Taehyung. And so that video and that photo that you saw is when I met V. So I explained that on my Instagram. This is why I put it in quotation marks. I was like, oh, this is the time that I met V.
오랜만에 봤으니까 사진 하나 찍을까? 그럼 우리 시장에서 봐요. 안녕.
And I put it like this and I hashtag BTS Studio because I thought most people would know what BTS Studio is. Most people would know that I didn't really meet him. And anyway, I was so shy in the video anyway and he wasn't even there. Like imagine if he really was there, I would have like combusted. that was it. Like I was so happy though. Then I ran away, caught my flight and went home. It was just a really incredible experience. This was such a long video, but I just wanted to explain the whole thing to you guys because I know some of you didn't get to go. If you have any more questions, stick them down below and I will try to answer them. Yeah, I guess thank you for watching my story right into the end. It was a really long one. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Like the video if you liked it, and I'll see you guys maybe in the next video. Bye.